Thank you for joining Son Armstrong podcast today. I want to speak about shamelessness. There is a kind of power that only shows up when shame leaves the room. Not confidence, not arrogance, not noise. Shamelessness. Shamelessness is not the absence of standards. It's the refusal to let public opinion become a prison. I'll take that again. Shamelessness is not the absence of standards. It's the refusal to let public opinion become a prison. Why? Because shame is one of the most effective tools ever invented for control. It doesn't need chains. It just needs witnesses. Most people are not afraid of failure. This is the truth. Most people aren't actually afraid of failure. They are afraid of looking foolish while failing. And that fear quietly edits their lives. They don't say what they really think. They don't start what they really want. They don't stand where they really believe. Not because they lack conviction, get me right. Not because they lack conviction, but because they imagine an audience that may never clap. Yeah, this reminds me of something. I remember a moment that taught me this particular concept, this particular thing that brought shamelessness to my mind properly. I once shared an idea, very raw, unfinished, honestly, believe me, and the room went quiet. Everywhere was dead silent. No applause, no encouragement. Just that uncomfortable silence where you can almost hear people thinking. If you have experienced it, you understand what I'm talking about. Why would he say that? It looked like that was what they were thinking. Why would he say that? For a split second, shame rushed in with a suggestion. Walk it back. Explain yourself. Soften it. Apologize. Do you know what? Guess what? I didn't. Nothing dramatic happened. No lightning, to my greatest surprise. No public humiliation. But something shifted. I realized that the fear was louder than the consequence. Fear is always louder, is always harsher, is always bolder than the consequence. And that moment taught me a lesson I've never forgotten. Most of the shame we fear never actually happens. It only rehearses in our minds. Now here's the truth. And we don't say this often enough. Shame doesn't protect you from embarrassment. It guarantees regret. Let me take that again. Shame doesn't protect you from embarrassment. It guarantees regret. Shamelessness is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It simply moves. It tries again. It asks question. It posts the idea. It wears the thing. It believes the call. And it does all that without waiting for permission. That's shamelessness. Some of the most dangerous words you can actually say to yourself are, what will people say? Because once you ask that, you've already handed them the steering wheel. And people love it. People love to control you. People love to use their leverage. The moment you start auditioning for approval, your life becomes a performance. Think about what I just said now. The moment you start auditioning for approval, your life becomes a performance. And performances are exhausting. Shameless people are not fearless. They just decided that being misunderstood is cheaper than being unfulfilled. They understand something most people miss. If you need everyone to understand you, you will live beneath your assignment. Believe me, if you need even your well-wishers, if you need everybody to understand you, you will live beneath your assignment. Facts. Look closely at anyone who is truly effective. Say artists, builders, thinkers, leaders. They all have one thing in common. They survived public discomfort. They were awkward in public, wrong in public, early in public, unpolished in public, and they didn't retreat. Shame tells you hide until you are perfect. Do you know what shamelessness would say? Shamelessness would reply, move while you are becoming. Let me say this plainly. Please listen to me. Growth that happens in private but never shows up in public is wasted potential. I'll take that again. Growth that happens in private but never shows up in public is wasted potential. Any growth that happens in private but never shows up in public is wasted potential. That's one of the reasons I started a podcast. I started a YouTube channel. Because any growth that happens in private but never shows up in public is wasted potential. Now, this matters. Shamelessness does not mean disrespect. It does not mean recklessness. It does not mean moral decay. It means you are no longer governed by imagined humiliation. That's the meaning. It means you know who you are before the crowd reacts. Because if you wait for confidence before action, you will wait forever. Confidence is not the prerequisite for movement. It is the reward. Always remember this. Confidence is not the prerequisite. It is not the requirement. It's not the first step of movement. It's the reward for initiative, for execution. Some of you listening already know what this is about. That project you keep delaying. That message you keep editing down to nothing. That calling you keep shrinking so it doesn't offend. You don't need more clarity. You need less shame. And here is my final thought on this. I'm dead serious. History only remembers people who were willing to look strange in their own time. In their own time. There's a time you will get to this thing that makes sense now will no longer make sense. So history will reward you if you are willing to look strange in your own time. So shamelessness is not rebellion. It's alignment. Alignment with what? Alignment with truth. Alignment with conviction. Alignment with the life you keep postponing. So don't wait until you are comfortable. Comfort has never introduced anyone to destiny. Move. Always caution yourself, always stop yourself with move. And start yourself with move. Say to yourself, move. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if the room is silent, even if your well-wishers are ambivalent, even if they are confused, even if your loved ones are confused, even if your loved ones mock you, move. Do you understand? Because silence is not rejection. Sometimes it's just space making room for something new. I want you to think deeply about this. It is important that you bear in mind that nobody will change your life for you. Thank you for listening.